So the release date of Classic WoW didn't fall very well for me in terms of when I had a lot of available free time, and as a result I am lagging behind a little bit compared to a lot of people that are playing at the moment who have a lot more free time than myself. But even under those circumstances, when I play, I still find myself often competing for mobs, for quests, or just simply running into roadblocks full of people when trying to farm gold. And I am now fast approaching the level 40 mark where I'm going to want to have the gold available to me to be able to purchase my mount. Now, when it dawned on me that I was getting close to that point, I was actually a considerable margin away. I was 2 levels to go from my mount and only had 40 gold. So I decided to start looking into some gold farms. Now, I followed a lot of suggestions that people gave, and while they gave excellent gold farms in terms of the potential that you would be able to achieve at them, I found that I was just suffering so badly at the hands of competition. These farms that you're getting at the minute are just so incredibly lucrative that people are just queuing up to kill the mobs, and you're just not getting a good return on them because you can't find anything to kill. So to that end, I'm bringing out this video to let you know about the farm that I used in order to generate the gold I needed for my mount. Now, disclaimers up first, this is definitely not the highest gold per hour farm that you are going to be able to get. However, it is a steady, consistent and easy farm that, as of my experiences, does not have a particularly high following. So I have never found myself lacking for these mobs to be able to grind on. So let's dive into it. Now, the location you see me farming in this video is going to be on the western side of the Swamp of Sorrows. Now, the Swamp of Sorrows is a zone in the southeast of the Eastern Kingdoms, best reached for the Horde by taking the Zeppelin over to Grumgol Base Camp in Stranglethorn Vale, heading north out of Stranglethorn Vale into Duskwood, then proceeding east through the Karazhan area that, I forget the name of, Deadwind Pass, yes, Deadwind Pass. And then from Deadwind Pass you simply head out of the east exit into the Swamp of Sorrows. As for all of you Filthy Alliance scum, if you want to head here, you are going to be setting off from Stormwind, heading east through Elwyn Forest into Duskwood, and from Duskwood you are going to be going through into the Deadwind Pass and then once again east into the Swamp of Sorrows. The mobs that we are going to be killing for this farm are going to be roughly level 36 up to 38 and the odd 39, and as a result you are going to want to be at a level where you can kill these levels of mobs pretty consistently with minimal downtime, so do bear that in mind before setting off. Now, the primary mobs that we are going to be killing for this farm are the Swamp Jaguars. However, interspersed between the Swamp Jaguars we will also be killing Sorrow Spinners and Young Sawtooths. Now, the primary aim of this farm is to gather a great deal of grey items to vendor for instantaneous gold. However, there are items that drop from these mobs that are going to be useful for you for selling on the auction house, most notably in the form of random greens and recipes for professions. Now, I'm going to throw up a few of the grey items on the screen here for you that are the ones that we're going to be aiming for, but there are also more than the ones that I'm showing here, and the grey items that drop from these mobs sell for roughly 5 to 10 silver respectively per individual grey item. Like I alluded to, there is a great many green items that drop from these mobs. I didn't get an awful lot, in all honesty. At my kill speed I was getting roughly 1 additional drop in the green or blue variety every sort of 10 to 15 minutes that I performed the farm. But of course this is RNG dependent and also dependent on how many mobs you're going to be able to kill, i.e. how quickly you're getting through them. The more mobs you are able to kill, the more likely you are to get these additional items. Now, some of them are going to be duds that you're going to sell to the vendor, but obviously if you were to get a particularly prominent green item that had the correct stat distribution on it, or if you were going to get yourself a recipe that is rather rare or sought after, then you would be looking at a substantial boost to your gold making. As for the mobs themselves, one of the best things about this farm is that not only are they extremely numerous and relatively close together, but also the mobs for the most part aren't particularly challenging to kill. The swamp jaguars seem to have some sort of mechanic that increases their evasion at points where you simply just miss repeatedly. However, of course, this could have just been bad RNG. I did not see it display as a buff on the mob, but I did often find myself missing for, say, 10 swings in a row, which is incredibly bad RNG if it were the case. But other than that, the mob is pretty much just going to be slapped until it's dead. The Croc Elasaurs do not appear to have any major noteworthy points when it comes to farming them. However, the Sorrow Spinner spiders do indeed have some mechanics that can be frustrating and seemingly unavoidable depending on the class that you are playing. The Sorrow spiders do have a poison debuff that doesn't hit particularly hard but does last quite a long time, and did prove to be quite irritating when I was doing things, say for example attempting to use a bandage after the combat, not realising I still had the poison on me and it would interrupt. It wasn't a particularly big problem, it was just more of an annoyance. And similarly to that, their second mechanic of note, which is a root that lasts for roughly 8 seconds, is also quite frustrating as well if they happen to apply that right as you kill them, and you're forced to stand there and wait for the root to vanish. Of course, if you are playing a class or race that has a mechanic to be able to prevent or get out of these problems, then that will make this farm even more efficient for you. And to an eye out on the results, in my own personal use of this farm, I farmed for about half an hour gathering this footage, and when I came away from it, I found that I had got about 2.5 gold directly from the grey items that I had vended, as well as also getting about 3.5 gold in items that I was putting up on the auction house. Now, of course, results may vary depending on your class and kill speed, which is why I'm always very reluctant with these numbers. However, it is worth noting that I was doing this on a level appropriate character that was playing as a warrior and did not have a particularly high kill speed and did have recovery times. I also was playing with essentially very minimal effort on my part. I was doing other things while doing this farm, because one of the points of note of this farm is that it is quite tedious, but it is also doable with relatively low brain power on your part, which is good, because evidently by that sentence I'm struggling for it at times. And as a result, you can easily do this farm by the same point as watching your Netflix or watching a YouTube video or something of that nature. Now, one other point of note is that if you are doing this on a level appropriate character, of course the constant killing of mobs is also going to prove to be quite effective for your leveling. I did find myself getting about 25% of a level in the half an hour that I was grinding for, which is pretty good in my opinion, so that is a point of note as well. The final noteworthy point of this farm that I want to point out is that if you hadn't already noticed in the video that you have been watching, the actual amount of people doing this farm is very low. Now this is probably because admittedly the returns are not as high as many other farms that you are going to be able to do, and if you have access to those farms and you don't find yourself with a lot of competition, then perhaps they're the better option for you. But if, like me, you're sick of turning up at these fantastic farming locations to find that there is already 3 people for every mob that spawns, then you may want to consider this as an alternative, as in the entire time that I've been doing it, which has now spanned quite a few hours, I have not encountered more than one other person at any given time that has been fighting before the mobs, which has resulted in pretty much non-stop mob grinding, apart from when I've made errors on my own part. So that's going to about do it for this video, guys. I do hope you found it informative, and if you did, please do consider liking the video and or subscribing to the channel. Well, that'll do for this one, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later.